Hey guys, what is going on? It's Fen here again. So today we're actually doing another go by tanking video. I think I called it tank through video. But I'm doing this one live. I'm gonna be doing it live, and just hopefully it's gonna turn out pretty decent. It could be horrible, but you never know. So this first pack, I'm gonna put Death and Decay down. I'm gonna pop anti-magic shell because they will do an ability which will stun me, and of course the I'm not being dispelled, and the dude has taunt on his pet, so that's not good. So I'm about to die, so I'm going to pop some healing abilities. Hopefully they will turn taunt off. Sometimes it can become a very complicated in dungeons, but hopefully we'll do okay. I'm going to put some diseases on and spread them around because these are going down extremely slow. I'm going to heal up, and I'm going to use my rune strike to do some damage. And I'm going to use Blood Boil because it's got a free proc. And I'm just going to go move them out of the bubble because they will take reduced damage. And we nuke them down. So hopefully the Warlock will turn taunt off his pet and a Hunter as well. So it could be very difficult. I'm going to use Death and Decay because it's a proc. I'm going to use my Outbreak, and then I'm going to use my Blood Boil just to get these, obviously these DPS up and stuff. I'm not going to use anything else. I'm just going to use Rune Strike when needed. And then I'm going to use Blood Boil again, get Blood Boil up, and they're down, so that's perfect. So the next pack again is going to be a little bit more difficult. I don't have enough runic power for Outbreak. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my Blood Boil. I'm just going to use a lot of them. Use Magic Shell so I don't get stunned. Blood Boil again. And I'm going to use my number 6, which is going to stun these, hopefully not in place of the shield. I'm going to interrupt that. And they did get stunned. And there we go. So that's pretty much easy. I don't need to use Death Strike at the minute. I might use it just to absorb some damage. I've got an 82k heal there, which is pretty decent. I'm going to skip them mobs because we're going to go on to the boss now. I'm going to get my bone shield up. I'm going to put up my buff. I've got them tracked here, so let's go for it. I'm going to use Outbreak because I've got enough runic power. I'm going to use my Death Strike, free Blood Boil, another free Blood Boil, and then I'm going to spam Runic Strike, which will basically give me a lot of threat. Most people don't actually follow boss tactics here. They just focus on the boss because when they actually go into the middle, they don't actually do much. But the monkey is actually killing them. We do have one on the other side. So here I'm just rotating Death Strike with Rune Strike. I'm going to use a Blood Boil just to keep my diseases up. And that's pretty much all I need to do. So it's going to do Detonate. I'm going to get a free Blood Boil. I'm going to pop Anti-Magic Shell just to absorb some of that damage so I don't take any damage. So the healer can actually get everyone else back up. And again, use some Heart Strikes, some Rune Strikes, just, switch it up. Look at my diseases, 17 seconds, I'm going to reply it, so it's back up to 30 seconds. Use my Death Strike to get a big absorb up, and use a Runic Strike, which is pretty decent. Use a free Blood Strike, Blood Boil rather, and just continue. So, the Hunter did pop his pets, which will taunt the boss, which is fine. I don't have to do anything now, I could just chill out, don't have to do anything. And that's pretty much it. So I will have threat on the boss when the animals do die. I'm just saving up my abilities. I'm going to use a Blood Boil just to refresh my diseases. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to move out of that. And I should have put my Anti-Magic Shell there, which I didn't. I'm going to use my Death Strike and another Death Strike. Get some absorbs up. I'm absorbing about 104k there, which is pretty decent. You can see here how much I'm actually going to absorb and how much I actually heal for. So I'm going to just disenchant that because I don't need it. I'm going to put up my bone shield, rebuff, and then I'm going to use my Death and Decay on these guys. Got to be careful here because these are a little lip which you cannot put it down, which is a little bit annoying. I'm going to use my Blood Boil just to get some damage on these, spread them diseases. I'll have 100% threat on all of these now, and I just keep using Blood Boil every time I get the chance to. There's no point Death Striking because the healer will be able to keep me up. And I could Death Strike right now actually because my Blood Boil was on cooldown, didn't have any rooms for it, so it made sense to use it there. And again, use it again. I'm not using any runic power. The reason for that is because I want enough runic power for the next pack to use Outbreak because it is glyphed. And the reason it's glyphed is because it's a lot easier because when you're chain pulling you can just put down all these. I'm going to use my Death and Decay. I'm going to use some of this, I'm going to drag that guy back. And as I was saying, it's just easier to use Outbreak. I'm going to use my Remoteless Winter just to stun these in place. Hopefully it doesn't stun them in there. which is actually just going to stun one guy, which is fine. And I'm going to use my Blood Bowl, and basically from here, click this guy and just use a Death Strike, get a big old 80 odd K heal, and we can progress further on. So what we need to do now is put up our Bone Shield, reduce 20% of all incoming damage, always a good thing. And then I'm going to put Death and Decay down on these adds. I'm going to use a Heart Strike, and then I'm going to use my Blood Boil and spread my diseases. And just keep using that ability. I'm going to spread through them using my Runic Strike, because the monk does have quite a bit of DPS. He did pull threat off me at one point, so I'm going to just keep the pressure up, keep the threat up, and just keep switching targets with either tab or clicking. Tab is easier, and we're good to go. So I do believe we have one more pack, which we do. So I'm going to use Horn of Winter, and then I'm going to use my Anti-Magic Shell. I'm going to use my Blood Boil, and then I'm going to use my Blood Boil again, put my disease up, and then another Blood Boil, which will spread all my diseases. And then I'm basically just going to click these and just do some damage. Blood Boils, move them out of that, because that can actually be quite dangerous. I can find my way. Some more Blood Boils. I'm going to actually taunt this guy over with Death Grip, just to get him out of that bubble. A free Blood Boil, get that up, get another one. They've actually been knocked behind me, so I'm going to face them, so I don't take additional damage. I'm going to use Death Strike as soon as I have the ability to. And sometimes timing your Death Strike will get you better heals and absorptions, but for trash it's not really needed. Just use it when you need it, and it will be okay. So I'm going to use it now just to top myself up. I'm getting a pretty decent absorb, you know, 39k still absorb, 11k now, and I got on 55k absorb, pretty decent. So we've got one last trash pack here, which I'm lucky enough to get a Death and Decay proc. I'm going to use Outbreak, and I'm going to use my Blood Boil. I'm going to use my Remorseless Winter, just because I know I don't need it on anything else, so I might as well use it to stop some damage, because I'm going to be using all my runes on Blood Boils rather than Death Strike. Get all that threat on all of these targets, and they're pretty much dead. So we're going to progress through to the second boss, which is quite an easy boss to tank, really. The DPS do the most of the stuff by slowing them, DPSing them, etc. So I'm going to get some Death Strikes on here, do some Runic Strikes, and get a Heart Strike. Oh, that guy's actually gone. Where's he going? Must have been knocked off. Which I've got enough threat, I've got over 500, so I don't need to jump down after him. So it's a good idea to look at your threat and basically determine, do I have to follow him? Will someone take threat from DPSing him down just that little bit? If not, then don't bother. Stay up where you are needed. So I'm going to bring up my Bone Shield again. I'm going to rebuff. I've got them tracked here. Very important to track your buffs. Which I didn't do in the past, but since I've put them up, it's a lot easier. I remember a lot more, and it just makes tanking a little bit easier. So as you can see, I am missing two buffs, which is Mastery and Stats. I guess one's from the Druid. We don't even have a Druid, so not quite sure who they're from. Oh, it's probably the Monk. Yes, we are ready. So let's start the... I don't know, is it a mini event? I suppose you could call it a mini event. So basically what's going to happen here is these guys are going to bring some of these little, I don't know, eggs, I think they're called. And the DPS will chuck them down on the floor, they'll slow them down, and they will take increased damage. Most of the time you don't have to tank them, they die quite fast. Because of range DPS, as you can see, here's one of them. Hopefully they're actually going to use them. One of the DPSs, which is great. They take increased DPS, so 50% damage with 5 stacks, so it's 10% per stack. So I'm going to have a little bit of trouble here, maybe getting some threat on these. So I'm actually just going to... Actually, that was actually quite good. It was very easy to get threat on these. So I'm going to use my Outbreak, and then I'm going to basically use my Blood Boil to aggro these. Now I'm just going to be careful of not to get hit, and realistically they should be DPSing these down. I'm going to move out of that, and I've just moved out of his AoE, so I'm going to move back in just so he doesn't waste his healing grain. I'm going to use my Blood Strike to get some absorb going. It just helps the healer out, really. I I mean, these should be dead by now. I think they might be focusing on the other stuff. But again, using my Blood Boil, I'm going to use Death Strike on this guy. You Blood Boil again because it was a free proc. And there we go. So that guy is dead. We've got a few more coming up, which is a little bit of annoying because they can die instantly from one attack, which, as you saw there, the mage is doing it, which is great. So that's good. We're going to get some more guys coming up. They're actually quite easy to kill. As you see, they're using way too many of these. It could go a little bit wrong. And again, they're not actually DPSing this guy, so I think I'll DPS him a little bit. You can get an achievement if you do kill this guy before the last phase. So I've got 2 free Blood Boil procs there. So I'm just DPSing this guy. You don't have to. It does help though, and plus you get achievements, so less damage during the boss fight is always good. As you can see, these guys are actually wasting these. You shouldn't really put them down until they start coming. Now would be a good time to put them down, because all these disappear by the time they even get up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go close to the edge and I'm going to throw down a Death and Decay somewhere around here, just so I can actually get threat on them as they come up. If no one else attacks them, that's fine. I will get aggro and all will be grand. However, if some people, well, attacks them, then it could become difficult to get threat from all of these. So I'm going to head over here now. I'm going to use some Blood Boils. I'm not going to use too many, because I want to use enough to grab the other people if they so desire to come up. As you can see, we've got a big guy here, we've got a small guy, that's fine. I'm actually going to tank him in this type of area here. I'm going to taunt him, and then because he's in here, he's going to take a lot more damage, which is great. I didn't move from that, which is fine. It's only 18k damage, it's not a lot. So we're going to get some more of these adds. We can actually blow up the big guy. I think he takes a lot of damage from these little dudes, but because they're actually quite fast, we do need to slow them down before we hit them. I'd be interested to see if the mage actually does this, because he's pretty much the only one who can actually do some damage to these. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to this is gonna be bad. If no one actually hits them, they can do a lot of damage when they explode. So I'm gonna put down my Death and Decay here. Hopefully that will take direct damage and it will kill him, which it looks like it is. That's a good thing. And then we've got one guy here who we do need to kill before the boss approaches, which he is on his way up. So I'm going to taunt him. I'm going to do a Death Strike. I'm going to do another Death Strike, move out of that AoE, do some damage to this guy. I'm going to save my runic power for the boss. Keep that in mind. I'm preparing for the boss. Here he comes. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. This guy needs to die ASAP. I'm going to basically taunt the boss. I'm going to outbreak him, do some Death Strikes, and then I'm going to runic spam him. I'm going to put up my Bone Shield very soon. I'm going to move out of that because it does do a lot of damage. I'm going to move back in just before it ends. I'm going to put up Bone Shield because it has run out. I'm going to put up my Horn of Winter because it has run out. Death Strike, I'm going to be using cooldowns very soon. Heart Strike, Runic Strike. Blood Boil to refresh them dots. Run back in just before it ends so the boss doesn't move. And then I'm going to actually pop my Runic Weapon just to get that parry, a little bit more threat and a little bit more damage. I'm going to be using these. I'm going to use Death Strike, and then I'm going to run back out just a little bit, and then run back in. I've missed about 3 attacks there, which was pretty decent. I'm going to do some more Death Strikes, and my Runic Weapon is almost down, so he's going to do another Blade Storm soon. I'm going to use... I moved him a little bit too soon there, so the Hunter might take a bit of damage. He's just out of range, which is great. And I'm going to pop... probably Icebound Fortitude here, taking a lot more damage. He has got a lot of stacks, so the damage is increased. Normally you would actually use the little pods, but they used them all, so the boss is just taking normal damage. The Hunter almost died. There's nothing I can do. I can't taunt him, so I'm going to use my Bone Shield again. 20% less damage is always good. I'm going to stay in on this one and just DPS him down, and there we go. The boss is down. So normally you would want to at least keep 2 of them eggs for the boss phase, because that way he actually takes, well, I guess it's 100 or 200%. I think it's 200% damage, which gets him down extremely fast, because he does do a lot of damage and he does enrage to a certain extent, I suppose. So getting him down is also a good way. The faster he goes down, the better for everybody. So I'm actually going to get a few of these for a quest. I'm not going to get them all, but that's fine. I'll probably get the rest next time. Just waiting on the NPC now to open the gates. I'm going to buff everybody here. Get that back up to 5 minutes. And just wait. So on this next part, you can actually skip a lot of the trash, which is pretty cool. Hopefully we're going to do that this time, depending if someone pulls or not. So you got to be careful. Don't stand too close to the gate because, of course, it does blow up and it will knock you back. So we can run through, we can skip a lot of this trash just by ninjaing through the gate, like so. Hopefully people will follow, which is great. And then what we're going to do is we're going to basically run over here and through this little gap. Now I need to be careful because I need to see if anyone aggroes, which would be interesting to see. The mage is looking a-okay. Come on, in your own time, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to basically aggro all of these. I'm going to pop my Remorseless Winter. I'm going to use my Blood Strike. I'm going to get these up. I'm going to get Outbreak on these because I haven't got it yet. And there we go. So that's pretty good for now. I'm going to get enough runic power to pop my ability here because I'm going to take a lot more damage. So the 20% more parry is going to help out to survive this. I'm going to pop some more of this. I'm going to take a lot more damage now. I'm going to get Bone Shield back up. And I'm going to basically start stacking Death Strikes. Get some Blood Boil. Get them diseases spread. And we seem to be doing okay. Get another Death Strike up. And that went pretty damn well actually. Healer hardly used no mana. My mouse is freaking out a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to basically pull these ads again. Use Outbreak. And then use my Blood Boil just to get these aggroed, which is fine. And then as soon as I get enough, I'm going to use my Death Strike. Use some Runic Strike there. Death Strike, Blood Boil, which is a lot easier to keep aggro. Get more Blood Boils. Just switch through them using Runic Strike. I'm going to try save enough Runic Power. I want to try have 100 Runic Power before these mobs die. The reason for that is because it sets you up for your next pull. It just makes it so much easier to have enough Runic Power to get some Rune Strikes off for that extra threat. And of course to get Outbreak off, which is glyphed. So it doesn't have 1 minute cooldown. It just requires 40, I think. Yeah, 40 Runic Power. So everyone seems okay. So I'm going to basically go for the boss. Outbreak him. And I'm going to use some Runic Strikes. Taunt him just in case. I'm going to get up my Bone Shield. And then I'm going to use a Death Strike, Runic Strike, Heart Strike, Heart Strike. I'm going to use... I didn't get my disease up actually. I think they might have missed the boss. So I'm going to do a Blood Boil. And I'm going to use a Death Strike. So the guy has popped his animals, which is very, very annoying. But it's something you will have to basically do as a tank. You will have to endure DK's Army of the Dead's hunters, beast things. So I didn't move there because I was too busy looking around. But that's fine. I'm going to get some healing up. Going to get some Blood Boil to refresh them diseases. I'm going to use Heart Strike, Death Strike, and again he's going to rush, which is fine. I'm going to use a Blood Boil to refresh them diseases. Heart Strike, Runic Strike, Runic Strike, Runic Strike. I'm going to use Tempest. I'm going to use Death Strike, Death Strike. I'm going to use some Rune Strikes, Death Strike. I'm going to put up my thingy again, my bone armor, and I'm actually going to tag these mobs. Just so they actually come to me. I'm not going to tank them, hopefully. If someone uses a bomb, which I shall use a bomb. There we go, dead. They do quite a bit of damage. It does stack. So I'm going to grab these, just do a little bit of damage to them, pick them up with this, and hopefully I can pick this up and kill them. There we go. So I'm taking a lot of damage at the minute, which is a wee bit annoying. So I'm going to turn around, use this, going to gather them up, and then I'm going to pop a cooldown just because I've got ads and the boss. Get some Heart Strikes. Hopefully I'm going to use this and kill him. There we go. And I'm just going to use a Death Strike. I'm going to put up my Outbreak. And then I'm going to just basically tank the boss as normal. So using some Blood Boils, using some Runic Strikes, using Death Strike when I've taken quite a bit of damage. Horn of Winter has fell off, so I'm going to put that back up with Bone Shield. Always nice to get your cooldowns up. Use Death Strike. And again, we're going to get some adds, which is fine. I'm going to put this down, Death and Decay, just to gather them up, I suppose. Get some aggro. And of course, I'm going to be taking a lot of damage if these don't get killed. So there we go. We got them down. And I'm actually going to pick another one up, which is here, and use it there, and use it there. Taunt that guy in, and just wait. So he did actually use it. We're going to get another set, which is here. I'm going to pick up this bomb, if I can click it, and I'm going to use it here. There we go. Going to use some Blood Balls to pick up all the adds. Again, I'm not going to use cooldowns right now. The healer seems fine. They did kill him with the bombs, which is pretty cool. I'm going to get a Heart Strike up, and I'm going to get another Heart Strike up when he comes back. And then I'm going to use my Outbreak. I'm going to be using my Anti-Magic Shell, which I think was a little bit slow. Could have avoided that damage. Blood Boil to refresh the diseases, and it was free. And then when he comes back, I'm going to do a Death Strike. And then I'm going to do some Runic Strike. And another Death Strike. And we'll finish him off with a 171k crit, which was pretty impressive, actually. So once that's done, we're going to continue. So I'm going to get my buffs back up. I'm just going to go in here and Blood Boil these guys. Blood Boil these guys. And then I'm going to put down Death and Decay, trying to hit all of them. I'm going to use Outbreak and then use another Blood Ball to spread my diseases. They're going to be doing a lot less damage, and they're going to be taking a lot more damage. So I am in case, which is a pain, but it is easy to break out of. And we're just going to continue here. I'm going to use a Blood Strike because I was taking a lot of damage. So again, Blood Boil, spread them diseases, keep them up. Use some Heart Strikes, Rune Strikes, and just basically generally do damage to these guys. So they have been knocked over. So I'm going to do a little bit more DPS, hopefully spreading them diseases. And then I'm going to do some Rune Strikes on these, doing some damage. I'm actually going to take this guy over to this guy, and I'm going to do one of these Blood Balls just to spread the diseases, which is cool. We're kind of chain pulling here, which is great. I'm going to actually go over to this guy. I'm actually going to bring him around the corner. Get that free Blood Boil off and get these up. I'm going to put down a Death and Decay. I'm actually going to bring this guy over if I can. There we go. Get some Blood Balls on this guy. I'm going to pop Remorseless Winter because there's quite a lot of them now. I'm going to pop my Death Strike. Get some self-healing. Apologies for the dog if you can hear it outside. And basically just do damage to these. That's all you need to do. Is just do your damage. And I'm not going to renew my Bone Shield right now because I want to save that for the boss. Because we've got so many adds and they take so long to kill. They're just going to wear down my shield anyway. So this is the last few adds. I'm actually going to do some Blood Boils just to get them closer together. Get some Heart Strikes in here because I did lose aggro there. Get a Rune Strike on him because the monkey's actually doing a lot of damage to him. Lost aggro there, so I'm going to bring him back, do a Heart Strike, get some Blood Boils. I'm going to get my Outbreak on now because it seems the most convenient time. And then basically use Death Strike. If you can't get Heart Strike, not Heart Strike, excuse me, Outbreak up straight away, don't worry about it. Get it up when you can, when most is convenient. Don't just try and get it up and not basically keep aggro. So the monk has already gone in, which is fine. I'm going to taunt the boss. I'm just going to do some Blood Strikes. Rune Strikes, Rune Strike, and then I'm going to use Outbreak, and then I'm going to use some, what's it called, Heart Strikes. I get all these abilities mixed up, but hey, it's okay. So once I've done that, I'm going to do some more Heart Strikes, not Heart Strikes, Death Strikes, there we go. I'm going to use some Runic Power, using Rune Strike. I'm going to move out of that goo, and do some Heart Strikes, Death Strikes, Blood Boil, Rune Strikes, and he's going to fly up very soon. So I'm just getting ready for this phase. And Get some more heart strikes in here. There, so we need to run now as fast as humanly possible to get over here before he actually starts doing this wind thing. Beware. So I did manage to get up quite far, which was pretty cool. I'm going to jump over this and try to get around the corner before it blows me again. And then get a little bit closer and do some death strikes, runic strike. I'm going to do a blood boil, and it actually did give us a free one there, which is cool. Death strike, runic strike, death strike, runic strike, blood boil. Keep them diseases up. There's no point using runic power on outbreak when blood boil costs 1 red rune, and it refreshes the duration with roiling blood. So keep that up. Use my runic power because it is pretty high. Use a death strike, rune strike, blood boil, and I'm gonna run back here. And I need to start jumping because I am getting this debuff. So keep that in mind. And I want to get just behind here. I'm actually going to pop my anti-magic shell and run over these. And I'm almost there, which the monk did interrupt, which was cool. So you got to watch this debuff in the middle. Sometimes it's quite hard to miss with all this information here, but that's fine. I'm going to be using Blood Boil to get them diseases back up, which they did drop off, but got them back up just in the nick of time. Rune Strike. I'm going to put up my bone armor and then put up my Horn of Winter. Rune Strike, Death Strike, Rune Strike, Blood Boil, Death Strike, Rune Strike, free Blood Boil, Rune Strike, Blood Boil, and he's dead. So that is pretty much it, guys. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest tanking through, but it wasn't bad. We got through it very, very easily. It was very, very easy dungeon. It was really easy. But overall, I think we did really well. The group did well. There was no arguing. We did everything first time, no wipes, anything like that. And to me, that is a successful group. We did extremely well. And I think everyone were happy. No one died. People might not have got the loot that they wanted, but still, it was a good run. Everything went smoothly, and tanking was pretty much a breeze. So I hope you guys kind of understood the process that I went through tanking, why I was using certain abilities, why I use Blood Boil a lot, because it does refresh the diseases instead of reapplying them with Outbreak. Trying to keep up your tanking cooldowns, the ones that reduce damage for DKs. Of course, being bone armor is really important, but only important when you want to use it for certain things. If you use it for trash packs that die in a matter of seconds, not really worth it. If you want to use it on trash packs that take forever to kill, but they do hardly any damage, again, not worth it, because if we kill them and you just use it and they break through and it's still on its cooldown and you go to the boss, you're still not reducing the damage from the boss by 20%, which is a really, really big help. So, you know, use the cooldowns when you think it's right to use. Only you, as a tank, as a person, can determine when is the right time to use something. And I used that in this dungeon, and hopefully you guys saw that. And I hope you actually learned something from this, because I know a lot of you people want to see kind of people tanking in the real world instead of like a guide of tanking. And there we go. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a comment and hit that thumbs up button, and I will catch you next time. Peace.